Here we go.
Hi.
Hi, Stace.
Hi there.
I have with me today Stacie Codino. The name of her business is Spirit Awakenings, and
Hmm.
Stacie is a graduate of Light Song and has moved into her own private practice, which she actually had, I think, before Light Song too. We just kind of put some frosting on the cake, I think, for
Yeah,
Stacie.
exactly. Yes.
And she practices angelic shamanism
Hmm.
and equine soul connection therapy.
Hmm.
Stacie is one of our practitioners for soul retrieval, and
Hmm.
you see clients for that as well as angelic readings. You have a profound relationship with the angels. I I frequently ask Stacie, would you ask the angels for me? And yeah, it's beautiful and mediumship.
Thank you.
And so you've got a lot of different skill sets that you offer to people. And
Mm-hmm.
do you want to say anything about the different services that you have, or
Hmm.
would you like to clarify?
Yeah, I just love to, it just how they all morph together and just line up, perfectly for that individual needs this and this individual needs that. But, it's all connecting with spirit and the angels. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I knew you mostly as the angelic
Hmm.
shaman practitioner,
Yeah.
using angels instead of like the power animals or the various things that is more common. And then also doing the readings. And now you've brought in this equine, the working with the horses. How are you
Hmm.
blending all of that together? And tell us about this new passion that you have with
Hmm.
them.
Yeah. Well, horses have been a passion of mine since I can remember, as well as all animals, but the horses in particular, and so it's always been a desire to really blend this into my work in a bigger way and be able to offer people opportunities to work with these beings in ways that maybe they don't want to ride. Maybe they just want
Oh.
to connect with a horse and feel that soul to soul connection that in my experience, I mean, it's just I don't know, it's just magic. It's just pure magic.
Mhm.
And so when I was living in Texas, I did a lot of horse work for clients and their horses. I had a lot of clients that are eventers and do different things in the horse world. And I've worked on their horses quite a bit, doing soul retrieval work,
Oh.
energy work,
Mhm.
um, whatever was needed for their animal. And so as I rode more and more, and whether it's taking lessons or just you know um, then purchasing my own horse, I just began to really it just started just flowing in such a bigger way, and I started asking intentionally spirit in a bigger way that how help me to bring this into my business in a way that we can be of service in a beautiful way. And it's such a passion of mine. I mean, I get fed daily, with just being around these beings. So yeah, so then we're starting to offer it more here that I've been back in Oregon. I have my own facilities here, so it's easier to
And
do
where's
that.
here? Where's here?
Oh, I'm in Southern Oregon. I'm in Cave Junction outside of Grants Pass area.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of horse country there too, huh?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Texas. So you actually do soul retrievals on horses? I mean, I know
Hmm.
I I work with animals and I know you do too, but I don't know if
Hmm.
everybody in listening to this would know that people can have these types of services for their animals.
Yeah.
And yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
It's in, in the horse industry, one of the things that really was, I mean, it was known, but yet it was really more eye opening to me in Texas because, horses are everywhere. And so, they're bought and sold a lot. or a lot of speed events. If this horse isn't able to go as this fast, then it's kind of moved down the road, or it comes up lame. It can't do this or that as well. It can't, whether it's running barrels or doing reining or, any of the rodeo work, whatever, and they're often ridden hard, and so these horses then begin to, or can, not always, but can develop disassociation as well, through traumas.
Wow.
Not every time a horse goes to a new home is it traumatized. However, as we're becoming more enlightened, people are seeing these beings more as spirits and not just a tool.
Yeah.
And so, doing the soul retrieval work on the horse has really allowed them to thrive, and it's also allowed them to move into families that can then, operate with them where everybody's thriving and balanced, just like humans, quality of life.
And horses, being a herd animal, I'm sure they
Mm,
develop strong relations with other horses, and then to be pulled
yes,
from that,
right.
that could that could be affecting their psyche in many ways,
For
just like
sure.
humans are losing a family or something, a family member. I
Hmm.
would do you see that much in your work where they
Yeah.
lost a companion?
Yes, I do. And, my vet always laughs because when I have to take one horse in, I'll haul him into the vet. I always bring them both. you know,
Mhm.
they love each other so much and they're
Uh-huh.
so connected that, and he always laughs, you're bringing your emotional support horse for this horse. Like, yeah. But,
Yeah.
they're just happier for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
And in the horse community, I think as well, Jan, in a lot of the animal kind of thoughts that it's just not always placed up at the forefront. It's, oh, this is where I want this horse, he needs to go there, without the thought of what that's doing at the soul level. And
Right.
so, yeah, and so I ran into many trainers when I was living in Texas that, um, it was hard sometimes to work with because they wanted me just to kind of dominate that horse, and you do this with it and you do this. And it was just so against my nature, without even thinking of the shamanic piece or the energy piece. It just isn't natural for me.
Mhm.
And so as I finally thought, no, I'm going to start really doing this in the way that feels really right for these horses, whether I'm working on someone else's or my own. And as I did that, it started really developing into not only a deeper relationship and a connection, but part of my business,
Mhm.
and then people were seeking me out to work with their horse because, they were able to build a better connection in their, in their sport that they're doing. They were able to just go deeper. And then what I noticed happening is they started treating and seeing their animal different as they started feeling that bit of a deeper um, relationship.
Yeah, exactly. You said it well. We as humans tend to think that we have dominance over
Mm-hmm.
things, and I know that in shamanism, it's definitely a shamanic perspective that
Mm-hmm.
you respect all things. There's a respect that you hold for animals or trees
Yeah.
or whatever, and that respect, I believe, is felt. And even though they're not necessarily saying words to you, they
Yeah.
respond to the respect just like a human does. It
Mm-hmm.
builds intimacy, it builds companionship. There's a closer relationship between humans that are respectful to each other, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it allows for a value, which is it's a life component. It's just not a human component, but
Yeah.
everything has to has a value. And
Right.
shamanism sees things that way, and it sounds like you naturally did and just tapped
Yeah.
right into that. So
Yeah.
it's helping these people with their animals, like if they are more connected to them, it seems like the animal is automatically responding to them on a different
Mm-hmm.
level. But if I were to come to you, Stacie, and I would say, I need some help, I'm hurting in this area, or I have this loss in me that I would like to work with the horses. What would you do with me to help me heal through them?
So first thing I would do is ask the spirit and the angels, what direction for Jan will we be going with the horses? Then I ask the horses permission. Are they open and willing to work with you?
Mhm.
And then what we would do together is I would bring you into the round pen. A round pen is just a smaller area, that they are in with us. I would ask you to choose which horse would you like to work with. What are you drawn to?
Mhm.
And then together, I would have you working with the horse's energy and feeling that and letting them feel your energy and just building a relationship, helping you to ground if needed.
Mhm.
And then I would do some checking in about possible soul loss for you. Is there, some energy we need to bring back for you? And truly, I would ask them, how do they want to do that for you? With each particular person, I wouldn't assume that they're going to do it the same way.
Mhm.
Sometimes too, what we've done is like you would maybe get on their back, you would get on their back bareback, so you could feel their energy, you could feel their movement.
Mhm.
That would help to ground you. And then I would have you begin to look into your body. Where is this wound? Where's the root of it? Where are you feeling pulled to?
Mhm.
And start kind of cleaning away any clutter to find that. And then, okay, well, what do we do with this root? What's needed here?
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
really beautiful. As you were talking about that, I could feel it. I could feel
Yeah.
this horse underneath me and the movement. And I think probably for me anyway, because they're such a massive animal,
Mm-hmm.
it almost feels like you're being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
You're smaller and they're
Yeah.
just nurturing you on so many different levels.
That's the way I feel with them too.
Mm.
I mean, when I'm riding regularly and we're just, exercising, you can feel of course, their massiveness, but also their energy and their power as they begin to get worked up too.
Mhm.
And that's, a whole other animal. I wouldn't just throw a client on them and go say
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a that equal relationship with them, the balance of that, more so than just we're going to go on a trail ride.
Hmm.
We're all having fun, right?
Hmm.
We're all being inspired. We're all getting fed. And to me, I think that's what's important. It's just honoring.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what if, do you ever have people that are afraid of the horses?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens?
Not very often, but yeah, it does happen every so often. I had a gal at one of the workshops that I was teaching with the horses. That was her goal for being there, is she wanted to let go of her fear around the horses.
Yeah.
So we, worked on that, and just different steps that we did throughout the day and throughout the retreat. And then by the end, oh, she was just thinking about and remembering back, it brings tears to my eyes, because it was life changing for her.
Hmm.
It was absolutely life changing. And she doesn't want to go riding and ride a horse, and that's totally fine. She just wants to love on them and communicate with them. And yeah, so it was pretty magical. So the last I heard, what she's doing now is every so often she goes out and cleans stalls at a barn to help, kind of exchange, and they'd let her hang out with their horses.
So
So
would you
great.
say that that had something to do with a trauma that she had in her life one time that would
Mhm.
create that fear, or was it another lifetime? Did you get to that kind of a root of it and find out, or was it just, you know, something that she wanted to do? Like, was there a
Yeah.
basis for that, I guess is what I'm saying.
In this particular situation, the root of it, it was in this lifetime, and it had to do when she was a little girl, and just being fearful of anything that had a really strong energy. She had a lot of fear around male energy, masculine energy.
Mhm.
And both of my horses are both geldings. They're both males,
Mhm.
but and mares do have a little different energy than the geldings do. But anyway, so it was just that fear of anything that felt intense to her, she would just shut down,
Mhm.
and so the horses for her just really changed that. She's in her she's I think she was in a relationship. I don't know if she still is, but she finally opened to a relationship. Like, that really helped her just open and be willing to move through the discomfort of such a intense energy, or massive energy, I guess is a better word for that.
That's fascinating. That is
Hmm.
just fascinating.
Yeah.
So yes, it had to do with horses, but it really was affecting so many different components
Yeah.
of her life. And
Hmm.
we discover these things,
Hmm.
both from uh, not just from the people, but from the spirits and from the animal itself. They start informing us, and it allows you to sort of, with the right guidance, which it sounds like you offer, you can keep going deeper inside of yourself and like, what is this connected to? And you can discover all these things that you didn't even realize were running the show for you.
Yeah,
They're actually beliefs that you're discovering, or fears that you're discovering that are hooked to beliefs, that
for sure.
mhm,
And
yeah.
the horse is so honest. It can tell it. For example, if she was to show up of an energy of, I want to do this, but I'm really fearful, they are not going to, do anything to make her feel more fear. They'll often pull back and pull away a bit to give her that space.
Hmm.
And so watching both of them, even if she didn't say anything to me but how she was feeling, I could tell by how the horse is responding of, you know is she in tune with really what she's saying? Is this what she's wanting? You could just tell. And of course, bonus is the angels and the spirits are talking to me the whole time. That all of this is going on, and the power animals are all crowded around, and we've got a whole audience there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're doing what in shamanism we call, you're listening as you are,
Hmm.
you're listening to your
Hmm.
team as they're informing
Yes,
you about that spirit. It's really not us doing the work, it's the spirits working through us that makes the
absolutely.
difference. Yeah. So, or the
Yeah.
angels in your case.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any and all.
So what's your dream with this, Stace? I mean,
Hmm.
how would you
Hmm.
like this? I mean, you've this to unfold for you. You've got a beautiful home and a beautiful arena. These
Hmm.
horses there. Um, what is your dream that you want to see happen with all of this?
Well, I really, I would love to have even more space and bring in some rescue horses, and really have them available if they choose to work with people as well,
Mm-hmm.
and have um, retreats and workshops and things with the horses involved, as well as if the horses aren't involved, just having people out in the space and enjoying nature and,
Hmm.
just even on the road a bit, taking the horses to different facilities. I really desire to help the horse community, all over, expand more in their awareness of this animal, and it be used as a partnership more than a tool.
Hmm.
And yeah, and with a lot of the clients that I have that are working with their horses, it's just beautiful. And so I just want that to expand even more. So I mean, I could go on and on about all the dreams. I'm trying to keep it time wise, just trying to keep it small. But and I still enjoy my practice with people.
Sure.
I'm It's a busy practice. I love it. I absolutely love it. And definitely the animal piece is a desire to come in a really big way. Yeah.
I have noticed that I've not been around horses like you have, but I had a horse as a young woman and
Hmm.
as a teenager, and they've always just kind of been part of my life, but it was an attitude that they were doing a job.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of property, and you'd have to go out and check fence lines and da 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 da, all this kind of stuff. And you're right. The animal was a tool, and when I would go to just go ride, you'd go places to just go horseback riding. They were very much just these tools, and so uh, and I know these kind of, I think they call them dude ranches or something like that, where you go
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
They don't have necessarily these special relationships that you're talking about. And so that's the community that you're trying to get in there and help them have a better relationship with their animal so that the animal and the person thrive from that. Am I hearing that correctly? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of these horses just disassociate, right? They're just doing a job. They are doing a job. And don't get me wrong, they are often bred to have a certain job that they are really drawn to. My two are very, we call it very cowy.
Hmm.
They love cows. They want to chase cows. They want to, and Will, who you rode when you were here,
Hmm.
Will is a retired roping horse. And
Hmm.
so, they love to work. They really do. And they thrive from that work. And that's wonderful. But what are we giving them in
Hmm.
addition, and that relationship and that honoring of them? We're having a ball on them.
Hmm.
Yes, we're feeding them and we're sheltering them. Yeah. However,
Hmm.
it's so much more important to go deeper. And so these horses that just are, disassociating. I mean, you could go to a dude ranch, Jan. You and I could go and we could ride one of those horses. And what I have done in the past is I just work on them energetically the whole time. I'm
Hmm.
working on them. I'm bringing soul pieces back. I'm doing whatever, so that I could be of assistance in some way. So yeah, that's a desire for the expansion of the relationship.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you that are interested in this and would like to have an
Yes.
experience with Stacie, you can contact her at Stacie Codino, and that's Codino, staciecodino.com is your
Yes.
website, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, explore. Even I don't know what you're doing with Zoom right now, if
Mm-hmm.
you're working with horses through that, but I'm sure that when people contact you, they can get all the ins and outs
Yeah.
of how you're working. But talk about the angels a little bit. I mean,
Mm,
your relationship with them, and that's how I got to know you.
yeah.
You came into Light Song, working with the angels and doing mediumship and things like
Yeah.
that, and kind of wanted to advance your toolkit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you do readings predominantly, right? With
Mm-hmm. Readings, and the shamanic work for sure. It all comes together. Yeah, the angels, ever since I was a little girl, they've always just been really present for me. I didn't really, it's not something I ever questioned, because it just was. And so I communicated with them regularly and would talk with them, and just felt their presence, their love. And so as I got older, into my teen years, not everybody was really talking about angels. And so, I didn't talk about it a whole lot, and just kind of did life and had experiences. But my friends would often say, "How do you know things?" They would come to me and ask questions about things. And of course, I was getting help with the answers. So, and the angels had told me that I was a healer, and they wanted me to offer my work. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to nursing school. And so I began classes with nursing school. And at the time, I don't know if it still is, but it's like a lottery to get in. It wasn't due
Mhm.
to grades. It was just, oh, if your name got chosen. Well, twice it didn't. And I'm like, what? If I'm supposed to be doing this, why? What the heck? And so then they said, well, how was they made some sort of funny comment about, well, how was your time in school? Now are you ready to work? It's like, I do. So they said, we want you to offer people our assistance. We want you to be the medium and bring through this information, and teach people about us, and so on and so forth. And so even though it was a little, it was a little nerve-wracking at first, it was a no-brainer. It was just like, oh, well, of course, yes. And so once I said yes, it just, it just exploded in such a wonderful way. And then I met you, and then that shamanic piece, that just rang true for me in every way. But I thought, well, how is that going to look with the angel work? Like, I don't know. But man, oh man, it just blended so beautifully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was quite a long time ago, but, every day it's still learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow, another
Yeah.
piece of information. It's
Yeah.
fascinating. And Stacie is, I will say, very excellent at her readings. And like
Thank
I
you.
mentioned earlier, I I tap into her
Mm-hmm.
connection quite often, and
Yes.
we kind of trade back and forth,
Yep. Yeah. It's
which makes
good.
it
It's a
fun.
great relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're using the archangels, or is there anything that you want to talk about with the angels? Like, what have you learned about the angels that you find as kind of fascinating that
Mm-hmm.
maybe we that um, have not that much knowledge around them would?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some.
So definitely the archangels and our guardian angels, the healing angels, I call in a variation. However, it just all comes together, and so these archangels, learning about the different archangels and, their specialty, like Archangel Raphael, and he's the main master healing angel. And then he has all these other angels with him that assist in healing. And Archangel Azrael, he's talked about as the angel of death, but he truly is of all grieving, any grieving loss of a job, of course, loss of a loved one, but, any kind of loss. I mean, he's just fantastic. Archangel Ariel, she walks so well between the physical and that angelic realm. She helps a lot with our four-leggeds in a
Oh,
really big way. Yeah, and nature and the horses. In fact, one of the horses that I had, I was on a trail ride by myself one day, and she was just real antsy, and I called on Archangel Ariel, and I just kind of kept walking along, and pretty soon I just felt this energy right behind me, and she was riding on the horse with me right behind me. So, it's just, they will show themselves to us in really amazing ways.
uh-huh.
And the more we interact, they like the power animals and the spirits. They're all about relationship. The more our intention is, and we're embracing that and asking and developing that, the more we sense them. And yeah, so.
One of the things that I learned somewhere along the line from the spirits and, various people, I think that I can't even remember how I learned it, but it
Mm-hmm.
made such an impact on me. We as humans, we have free will, or what the spirits call sacred choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that, we get to pick. We get to pick if we're going to live a spiritual life or do good deeds or whatever those things are. But the angels don't have free will. They have one particular purpose, and that is to help humans.
Mm-hmm.
you know
Mm-hmm.
and the fairy realm, they don't have free will.
Mm-hmm.
Their purpose is to keep the earth beautiful and to take care of the
Mm-hmm.
earth. And so I've always when I learned that about the angels, it just made it even more special to me because I didn't feel like I was infringing on them,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
that is their purpose. I mean, that's why they exist, to help us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely. And
yeah.
and that's why we have, I have these particular guardian angels that were assigned to me as you do you, and that's all. They are with you, till the end. And so sometimes into even other lifetimes,
Mhm.
and so yeah, and I and they get so excited when we want to communicate with them. They get really excited about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how would somebody find out who their guardian angels are? Is that a
Mhm.
reading that you do?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you could, if because I know a lot of your viewers are shamanic practitioners and
Hmm.
students and things, so you could journey to the angelic realm and ask them as well.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, and you could, they often give us very human names because their names, the frequency or the sound. I don't think anybody wants me to try to repeat it
Yeah, yeah.
if I even could.
Well, it's not in our range of
Right.
auditory or vocal. Yeah,
So
exactly.
they'll give us earthly names, just to help us. And they're not masculine or feminine either, but sometimes when we feel them, they can feel that because that's how we're wired. We feel, oh, is this male, female?
Hmm.
And so they'll give us names accordingly, oftentimes, to just help us. Because if you need a name, they said, if that's what will help you to call on us, then we'll give you a name. What do you need? What do you need?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so, do you talk with the angels throughout the day, or?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And once those channels are open like that, uh, it, I know at least in shamanism for me with my team, it doesn't have to be as formal. However,
Right.
when I do take the time to move into an altered state, it's always much more rich and clear for me. I don't know if that happens for
I
you
agree.
too. Hmm.
It does. Yeah, for sure. It does. I guess it's just that direct intention, and really lining that up. I mean, I'll be out on the property or with the horses or, doing this or that. And I can sense if one of them is either trying to get my attention or near, and I'll stop um, or something's going to happen and I'll just say, angels, help
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
whatever. And they really will make themselves known in a really obvious way if we just give them the time and the attention and pay attention.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
teach workshops on that to teach
I
people how to
do.
connect? Yeah. And
Yeah, I do. And I think it's been, I don't know if I've taught one since I've been back from Texas. It's been a couple years. But it's probably time to get that on the books again. I was
mhm.
recently looking at my schedule for next year to get some classes realigned and get ready to go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you can find out a lot through the readings, though,
Oh,
also.
yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
And the readings don't have
Yes.
to just be about the angels. They could be about anything, like should I move or should I,
Yeah.
I've got this new relationship. It can be that kind of stuff too, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. And, they're all about counsel, just like spirit in our journeys, they're all about counsel of the situation to help you feel empowered in the decision that you're making. They very rarely are going to say absolutely yes, do this, absolutely no, do this. They really want us to develop and help us find our free will and our choice in the decision. Because if they say, oh, they told me to do this and I did this, and then you're not happy with this, you're going to blame the angels, then you might not want to have much relationship with them, and they don't want that. So
Hmm.
it's all about counsel and growth and enlightenment.
Well, I think not only, like you said, wouldn't want to have a relation, but the, the spirits don't force anything on you. It's
Yeah.
all about choice, like, and
Yes.
then they allow you to see your options.
Mm-hmm.
This will has a probability of unfolding this way if you do
Mm-hmm.
this, and this has a
Mm-hmm.
probability of unfolding that way if if you make that choice. And so
Mm-hmm.
they kind of, I always think of it as having the bigger picture. In fact, I asked them one time, I said, why do we journey really? Like, they said, well, you've got a pretty good idea of what's going on, but it's like you're walking down a path and we're above the tree line. We can see where it's going.
Yeah. That's good. So true.
Yeah. And I know for myself, I love the guidance and I love to connect with somebody that has a good relationship with their guidance because even though I can do it, I don't always want to just do it for myself. I like to sit
Right.
back and have somebody else um, sort of tap in for me.
Hmm.
It feels
Hmm.
comfortable. And I think that we do project into our information if we're really emotionally tied into it. Like if
Right.
something is very pressing,
Hmm.
it no matter how good you are in your field,
Hmm.
you will project into it on some level. And so it's nice
Hmm.
just to get a completely different perspective and just sit back and listen.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, sometimes I'm way too attached or emotional about whatever it is I need to know. And
Mhm.
yeah, I can feel like, oh, I feel like it's this, but to get just that clarity can help really then help me take action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so again, I highly recommend Stacie for her
Mm.
skill
Thank
set
you.
and the various things that she does with the angels as well as the horses. And it's
Thank
just
you.
wonderful to hear all these great things that you're doing. And
Oh, thank you. It's so fun. Thank you for having me. It's so fun to connect like this.
yeah, it is fun.
Yeah.
We like to have a good time.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
This is our version of a good time.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, but well, very good. Well, thank you, Stacie. And again, you can reach Stacie at Stacie Codino. And Stacie is also spelled Stacie.
Yes.
Yeah, we have
Yes.
different versions of spelling Stacie. So
Yeah.
Stacie. Codino
Yes.
is Codino.com.
Yes. Thank you, Jan. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure. So, ta-ta for now, and
All
I'm sure
right.
I'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Let me see if I can figure out this recording thing. I think I have to put